Welcome to another great episode of Real Life Matters. And of course, I'm your host, DBoss. This episode has been brought to you by Exquisite Promotions. And you'll know who they are after a while. But I'm bringing back here someone that's been in the chair before. And she was so interesting that we had to bring her back again. So for anybody that hasn't watched the episode before, I encourage you to go to the YouTube channel and you can go ahead and watch it. And with no other further ado, I'm going to introduce to you Dr. H.J. Muhammad.
Peace and blessings. Peace and blessings. Thanks for having me back.
Yes, I know. It's just since I've met you, I have been just talking about you all the time. So so I'd just like to give people a little brief introduction, like what's your background, and then we'll get right into it.
Oh, okay. Well, I am Dr. H.J. Muhammad. I am an author. I'm a writer. I am a leader, a soldier. Oh man, I can go on, but and I am a lover of people. I'm a spiritual warrior. I like to call myself a spiritual warrior, and I'm a spiritual warrior with the pen, but I'm also a spiritual warrior with the body, the mind. I'm just through and through a spiritual warrior.
Wow. And you wrote the book there. You wrote the author of the book, Releasing the Warrior Within You.
Yes, a lioness, awake
the lioness
spirit within, definitely.
Well, you do a lot with that book.
Yeah, I do. I talk about, I share a lot of intimate details of my life of where I had to learn how to activate the lioness within. We don't come in this earth automatically knowing how to be strong. I mean, sometimes people think that, oh, I have to be strong. I'm either strong or I'm not. No, you have to go through a series of experiences. And once you get the lessons from those experiences, that's where the real strength comes from.
And then you said in the previous interview, sometimes you don't like to speak about what you're going to do because sometimes you may not do it or God does not have you do it at that time. So you don't like to speak about the stuff that you're going to do.
That's true. I just like to do it because, we plan, but Allah says in the Quran, we plan, but He is the best of planners. So you can set out to do something. And sometimes we want to do things before it's time. It's like the leader has to be ready before the followers can receive them. So you can have a wonderful, wonderful idea, but the audience that's going to benefit from that idea might not even be ready yet. So your goal can be delayed because the audience isn't ready. Or the people that need to help you bring it into fruition, the right people, may not be there yet. So, and then there's people that try to stop you. So, I mean, it's a series of energies that'll come your way or will try to prevent you or will just delay the goal. And then people will say, oh, see, you said you would do this. It's not that I'm not going to do it. It's just not the right season for it to be done. So
that's right.
Yeah.
And some people don't understand that because I think it's about them and it's not about them. It's about how it's supposed to be.
True. We don't understand that we have a divine purpose, and oftentimes it's things that we want to do. We may not have the skill set to do it, or we may have the skill set, but that's just not our purpose. We were never born to do that. I thought I would be this big record label owner of this record label. It just wasn't for me. I know now my purpose, but I grew up in a family of musicians and lovers of music, and so I felt because of that was my path. But the music wasn't for me to have it as a career. It was for me to use as a sharpening tool for my personality, for my mission. You have to be in tune with the people. So it takes a musician to understanding, listening to music or picking up on different tones or picking up on different frequencies of music. So music doesn't always just serve you just for a musical audience, but music has a lot to do with your mathematical skills. And I'm a person that like to move mathematically.
Okay. So what would you tell somebody if they're going on their journey and they're not sure, like they're sure what they're supposed to do, but they're just like, okay, I'm not sure, what should I go back in the workforce, or should I continue doing what I'm doing? So how would you advise somebody, and they're a little more mature?
I would tell
You're
people
like,
still away. You gotta trust your heart. Some people try to have a plan, but don't have the money to fund it.
mhm,
So, but I also do believe in stepping out on faith. So it's all about what you want. Sometimes you're forced to step out on faith. You could say, well, I'm going to hold this job and use that to fund my business. But something happened, and then you're like, I don't have a job at all. But that was the motivation you needed to achieve your goal, to help manifest it.
okay,
Sometimes some people can't have a job and then work on stealing away until their business is successful enough for them to quit. Some people need that push. Nope. If I don't work this mission, I don't eat. So
okay,
I tell people, follow your heart, but um, read your situation. If you get forced out of a company, because a lot of great businesses started by people losing their jobs. COVID, a lot of people
mm,
lost their jobs, but a lot of businesses were created out of COVID. So
right,
I think that it really, you have to trust whatever your spiritual power you believe, but most of all, you have to trust in yourself, and you have to be patient and trust in the process. Keep
mm.
going. When it gets harder, that's when you know you're on the right path, because it's getting more difficult. So stay the course and be patient.
So what if somebody, like, they say, like, well, I just want to give up, I don't know, I'm doing this for so long, and then the money's not coming, you're not coming, something's coming. So what would you, because I know you get a lot of people that you advise them on businesses and business
Hmm.
consulting and stuff like that.
Hmm.
So what do you tell somebody in that kind of a situation?
I always tell people to connect with people that can help grow your business. You can't, if you're trying to get into the business of engineering, but you hanging with people that's in the medical field, that may not help further you. You have to be in the environment of where you want to be successful at. I always tell people in business, you need to have a relationship with your banker. That's what you need to do, because your banker knows everybody. And whatever difficulty you have, your banker say, hey, I got a client assist you with your difficulty. And so knowing someone who does business with everyone can help catapult your business. That's the difference between someone growing their business or someone staying at a certain level. You have to surround yourself with people who can help elevate your business.
Right. So that means you got to change your whole surroundings. Like, okay, you know what? This is not working, so you got to go into something else, correct?
That's true. And you have to seek out. See, we try to do we try to manifest goals by ourselves, because we don't want to give in, or we're afraid they're going to try to own what we own. You have to create a team. If you read any book written by a CEO of a company, of a successful company, they will stress the importance of the team, of the people they surrounded themselves with. Those are the most successful people. They're not the brightest people, but they put the most intelligent people around them to help them achieve their goals. If your business is not successful, it's because you don't have the people around you who can help bring your ideas into fruition.
Mm-hmm.
So that means you have to put people around you that, you have an idea, they help you figure out a way to manifest it. And so a lot of people's business ideas are stuck in their head. Well, you have to bring it down to the physical plane. And how do you do that? You got to connect with people who are good with taking an idea and bringing it down to a physical level where it can be manifested, and everyone else can benefit from it.
Wow. So that's another aspect of trusting your heart.
Yes, you have to. That's how I move. I'm a spiritual person, but we're spiritual people. We have to
Mm-hmm.
learn to trust our heart more. It's funny. Our grandmothers and mothers and aunties, and they were very good at trusting their heart. They'll tell you that person bad for you. You're like, well, I know they not, and then you find out 3 or 4 months later this person was bad for you, because you didn't know to trust your heart, like mama or grandmama did. They knew how to trust the heart. If it don't feel right, It ain't right, right?
But
So you
sometimes people tell people, listen, that person isn't right. They're seeing all the signs, but then they still stay with it. So that's a little different too.
I think it's a see, we don't really manage. It's important to manage your heart. People don't understand that the heart is a brain. And the body has three brains. You got your brain here, you got your heart, and you got your gut. Those three brains. But the heart is the command center. And so if you manage that command center will serve you right. We never been taught to manage the heart properly. We never been taught to address the trauma. Addressing the trauma will help strengthen the power of your heart. So if there is no enemies in the command center, look at like a computer. If there's no viruses in the computer works just like that. But if you have a
Right.
virus, it slows it down. The heart is a command center. It's like a computer. It sends more electrical messages to the brain than the brain sends to the heart. So the brain is a command center. I mean, the heart is a command center. And when people come around you, you feel their frequency. We just don't trust it. We've never been taught to
Mm.
recognize it. When you get around certain people, if they make you never want to leave their presence, then they vibrate on a high level. But if you're around people and you automatically all of a sudden you get angry or you feel anxiety, something's not right with this person's energy. We have to learn to trust that. But we've
Or
been
everybody
taught that
starts
that's
getting
spooky.
antsy or something. They
Yes,
start feeling funny and
we've been taught that is evil, or that's spooky, or that's
mhm.
witchcraft, or no, it's not. To be able to trust yourself, what's wrong with that? Or to be able to pick up on people's frequency. That's if we knew how to do that or focus on that or trust in our heart, we would save ourselves a lot of heartache and a lot of pain.
Wow. So that's something that's going on with people. Like you're talking, and this is what, and people out there that don't know, this is what Dr. Mahan, she advises you. You do business advisors, you're a business advisor. You also train people, and how to bring out their better self.
That's
Correct?
true. Yes, when I was a bank manager. And I ended up inheriting what was considered the worst staff. I got my air quotes. They were like, "Oh, they're not promotable. They're horrible." And I'm like,
Mm.
"Okay, well, this is a challenge because I have to prove myself in this environment." So I focused on let me focus on these people and what their needs are. What do you want? Helping them see their strengths and weaknesses. And once I was able to help them develop their self awareness, these people shot up. They were promotable within 6 months. So
Wow.
oftentimes, to be a great leader, you have to have strong sense of self-awareness. And when you have a strong sense of self-awareness, you're aware of other people. You have to have a strong sense of emotional intelligence. Why is this person, if I'm a leader and this is a person that I'm responsible for managing or have to lead, I need to figure out what makes them tick. I need to figure out why they're not performing at the level they should be. I need to be helping them on that journey to figure that out. That's my role. Any good leader, you can
or,
give them
or
any
what are
type of
they good
staff.
at, or what are they good at that they're not, maybe not doing in that particular job there.
Exactly. But if I don't know what I'm good at, if I don't know my strengths and weaknesses as a leader, I can't help somebody that I'm leading have develop their strength or identify their strength and their weaknesses. So if you like, I can look at a liar because I've dealt with the liar in myself. I can sit down with somebody and say, "You a liar." You know how I know? Because I got a liar in me. So I can recognize a liar when I see one, or I know
Hmm.
someone that has integrity because I've did the self-analysis to know, oh, I have integrity too. So it's easy to see something in someone else that you know is in yourself or you've had to deal with in yourself. So a great leader is very big on self-analysis because now I know my strengths and weaknesses. If I know my strengths and weaknesses, I know what people I need to surround myself with. Many great leaders have what is called a group tank, a circle of people that help hold them accountable. And this
Mm.
is why they're successful. See, a lot of people don't have that group tank that surround them to say, are you meeting your goal? Did you come up with a plan? Let's go over the plan with you. You said by this date that you would be at this step. Why are you not there? What obstacles are you having? So
Okay.
if you want to be successful, you have to do what the people who are successful do. I've had enough time sitting among CEOs of companies and talking to them about their business, asking them. My biggest question was, what keep you up at night? It's the most powerful question that you can ask any business. What keeps you up
Right.
at night? And they will start talking. And so just understanding difficulty when someone's facing difficulty, I can understand that because I've faced it time and time again. So as a leader, you got to, the strongest leaders have a strong sense of self-awareness. I hope that answers the question.
You've more than surmounted the question.
Okay.
And if anybody didn't learn from anything from that, well, then I don't know. I got to help you out.
The spirit carries me, and sometimes I'll go way over here. But
That's okay. That's okay.
uh,
So, you talked about you touched briefly on boundaries
mhm.
with people. So, can you tell us some boundaries with and give us an example of something in the boundaries?
Okay,
Like for
ooh, I'll let you.
your business, maybe or something.
Well, businesses have what is called business hours. Those are boundaries.
Okay.
So, or you have to say at this point, I know this is a lot of business owners can be very stressful because they're 24 hours. You're doing a disservice to yourself and your business if you work in 24 hours. You need to have a cutoff time.
Mm-hmm.
Your client needs to understand that you are not all access. They shouldn't call you 5 a.m. unless that's your business hours. Now, some people, I mean, like entertainment business is different. Your hours may be 2 p.m. to 2 a.m., but establishing business hours is a great example of setting boundaries. We do it for our businesses, we don't do it for ourselves.
Mm.
So, I mean, as a business owner, you have to determine good business is all business ain't good business, right?
Right.
As a business owner, you have to set boundaries of I have a certain level of ethics, and this is what every large corporation does. When I'm dealing with before I go into a contract with another business, does the ethical mindset of that company match my company? Because going into business with them, if somehow, because if I'm contracted with them and somehow they're sued or their reputation or their brand is affected, it affects mine. Those are the
Mm.
boundaries that as a business that you have to set. A lot of people's business are affected by who they do business with.
Wow.
You'll see that with companies that have contract with maybe an ambassador. Like they may have a contract with a athlete. The athlete gets into some type of scandal. What do? We have ended our contract with this person. We're no longer associated with them. Why? Because they've set boundaries to protect their own business. So
Okay.
as you do that with your business, you got to do it with yourself too. We don't set boundaries in our businesses or in our own personal lives, and then we wonder why our whole life is in chaos. The earth has boundaries, so we need to have boundaries. So you have to be able, as a business, determine
Like
what
set a
type of
time,
business you're
what
going to have.
time, like don't call me in any hour of the night thinking that it's okay.
Oh
At
yeah,
midnight
I mean you
or
can't.
something.
No, yeah, I've seen business owners. That's bad. Why?
Okay.
Because if you don't set boundaries or standards, boundaries, same thing we're dealing with your company, then people are not going to respect your company. I tell business owners, you need to have somebody represent you.
Mm.
No one respects someone who's representing themselves. So
Wow.
if you represent yourself, you're not going to be looked at as important or as successful unless you have someone working on your behalf. A lot of smaller companies, you need to get you a company that handles your calls.
Okay.
It sets your business apart from someone else. It's like, who would you rather deal with? The financial advisor that calls you directly, or the financial advisor that has an assistant that says, hey, DBoss, I have Dr. Muhammad on the line ready to talk to you about your portfolio. Now, which one seems more professional to you? If I'm calling you, hey, DBoss, let's talk about your portfolio, or hold on, ma'am. Are you ready to talk to Dr. Muhammad about your portfolio? Now, which one seems more professional or more
The second one.
organized?
The
Which
second
one looks, thank you, which one looks like they manage their time better? And if you manage your time on your business better, as a client, I know and understand you're going to manage my time better. You're going to
Okay.
manage my business with you better. So it's all about perception, but it's all on how you manage your time and what boundaries you set.
Wow. Well, that's a great inference. So what about relationships?
You got to set those boundaries too. And I hate to. I like to share it. My husband don't like it when I share it because I always talk about before we got married and we had these boundaries that we set of what we want to do and what we always said that we would never curse each other out. Regardless of how upset we are with each other, it's not going to
Mm-hmm.
be you MF
Yeah,
and you
this,
this
that.
and you that. We said because the moment we do that, then the way we see each other, the way we value each other is going to go way down. And
Mm,
so we set those boundaries no matter how angry we may be at someone. The language is not to be disrespectful. So we
okay.
set those boundaries. So I could be angry at him. My tone is not going to be angry. You know what I mean? And
Stop
he'll know,
it.
but my eyes will be like, you know, I'm mad at you.
but
But
but you
it's
won't say it. Well, you won't do it.
right. But it's all about setting those boundaries. You have to set those boundaries, especially when you're dealing with someone you just meet. Oh no, we're not getting physical. We need to get to know each other because I may not even want to deal with you. So I set this boundary. I don't trust you. I need you to earn me. It's boundaries
Right.
here. If you don't earn me, you don't get beyond these boundaries. I value my heart. I'm trying to protect it. I need you to earn me before we even take it to that physical level. Setting those boundaries.
So that's a
That's
boundary, like in a relationship. Like if somebody
yes,
is gonna meet somebody, you gotta okay. This is how it's
yes.
supposed to go.
Right. Boundaries I set. Well, like one boundary I set, and other men can get upset, and I don't know why. But when I'm with my husband, don't call me because you don't get.
Mm,
I'm talking to him. Do not call me as if I'm going to turn away from him. And have
mm.
if I can't treat him better than any other man, why is he with me? So some men would do it. I don't know if they were doing it to test to see, but or out of disrespect to him or me. But I had to set that boundary. Other men, you don't get what he gets. This is Mr. Muhammad. You don't get
Ah!
anywhere near that, and that in itself forced those men to respect me. It's interesting when I deal with inmates and individuals that are in custody in the prison, and I work in a male maximum facility. I let
Right.
them know, don't ever address me in that manner. Hey, girl,
Mm,
no, sir. I'm Miss Muhammad to you, or I'm Dr. Muhammad to you. I'm not a woman on the street. There's boundaries. You're gonna respect me.
mhm.
So, as a person, and men have to do it the same way. It doesn't. I'm just coming from a female perspective because I'm a woman, but
Right.
men have to do that too. Tell these women to stop rubbing on your muscles.
Mm.
Tell her respect you. You're not an object of her desire. You're not. You're not to be reduced to a sexual level. Tell these women to stop rubbing on you. That you're an honorable man. Set those boundaries and watch how you screen out people who are really not serious, and that's how you protect your heart.
Mm. But some people probably get mad. You know what? You what do you mean you don't want to? No, I just don't want it.
They'll
Somebody.
be okay. They'll get upset. It's okay because the objective is you're trying to protect your heart. You're not really trying to protect their feelings. They weren't thinking about your feelings when they were offending you. I used to be the person that people used to offend me, and I'd be the one up all night, upset with myself, having a conversation with myself about how I didn't like how that went because I didn't set boundaries.
Mm.
Once I set the boundary one time, it felt good, and I kept setting them. Now I'm probably to the extreme with boundaries, but I think it's important for me to protect my heart because too many times my heart was walked on because I didn't set up boundaries. People were treating my heart like they would walk. You know, how you walk in the grass, but when the
Yes.
grass has a fence up, you can't walk in the grass, can you? But if there's no fence up, people are walking all in your grass. But the minute you put up a fence, they can only walk.
Whoa. They're like,
They can only walk on the sidewalk, and therefore you protect your flowers, your grass. So you have to look at your heart that way. Oh no, you're not walking all over my heart. Here's a fence here because I need to protect it.
wow. So some boundaries now with friends and people who say that they're your friends.
Oh, lost friends. I've actually lost friends because I set boundary. Like I had a friend that she was asking me to babysit her son. Not a problem. I was helping
Mhm.
her out. But it got to the point that my daughter said to me, "Ma, can we have time?" Which I have two daughters, but they're grown now. But when they were
Mhm.
smaller, they said, "Can we have you to ourselves?" And I'm like, "Wow." So I had to tell her I can't watch your son this specific day. She gets upset with me. I said, "This is the end of our friendship." Because
Uh-uh.
if you can't respect what I just told you, I need to have this girl time with my girls. We can't have girl discussions because there's a boy present. And it's no knock on him. It was just I needed that one day to just focus on my girls, and she had a problem with that. I said, then we can't be friends if you can't respect the boundary. Like if I'm here helping you, I'm not charging you to watch your child while you go to work or while you do whatever, but you got to respect the boundary. You could have had someone else watch your child for that one day, but her response let me know you don't respect me and you're not respecting my wants. We can't be friends then. So when you set boundaries, you'll lose a lot of friends, but either they'll respect you or they'll move on because they have no desire to respect you. Then good for you, because now you can replace them with people who will respect you.
Wow. And that's important, because if someone's not respecting who you are, then what's the point? So what about in-laws or your family when you're growing? Because sometimes when people become adults, their mother or their father all want to step in. They don't
Oh,
understand that.
I don't bring family members in. We don't bring family members into our relationship. Now they can
Hmm.
be supportive, but we don't bring them into our problems, because now when I'm not, we're no longer mad at each other. They're mad at us, and that creates problems. So you have to set those boundaries of you set them by not telling your business to family members.
Hmm.
If I have a problem with my husband, I'm not calling his sisters. I'm telling him I have a problem with what you did. To call his sisters or him calling his sister saying I'm mad at my wife is only going to create conflict between us. And so we
Hmm.
don't do that. I don't call my sister and say, your brother-in-law made me mad. So next time she see him, she give him the evil eye like you hurt my sister. But she mad and I ain't even over it. I'm over it. I ain't even mad at him no more. Now I'm looking at her like, stay out my business. But I invited her in. So
Right.
we invite family members into our problems, and then we're no longer mad. We want them to be unmad, but that's not how it goes. So if you want your in-laws to respect your marriage or your relationship, don't bring them in it.
Because some parents still think that you, even though you're grown, some parents think that you're still a kid, and they still talk to you like that.
Yeah,
Or they
yeah,
know
that's true.
or they know how to get to you like that. They know how to manipulate the situation like that. So how do you tell somebody if they have to, you're an adult, you live on your own, you're outside, and your parents are still talking to you like that,
Oh well,
like you're a
you
child.
you be respectful, yes, ma'am, and then
Yeah,
you
I know.
go and you go do what you're gonna do. I mean, you don't. To me, when you're dealing with the elders, sometimes you just gotta let them talk and just say thank you, yes, ma'am, yes, sir.
Hmm. Okay, bye.
As adults, we still gonna do what we're gonna do, right?
Right.
But out of honor of our ancestors, living, they don't have to be dead for us to honor them.
Right.
So you honor them, and yes, I've had ancestors. I mean, I have my elders say something to me, and I'm like, I'm saying to myself, that no go. I'm not. That don't even sound right. But in effect, yes, ma'am. Thank you so much, and I
Thank
keep it
you.
people because
Because then they start throwing out the Bible. Honor, the Bible says, honor your mother and your father.
I
People
mean,
start
it's
throwing
true.
that out.
It's true.
But if they
It's
put you
true.
in a wrath, you can't. You know what I mean. You have to have common sense too, right? So.
It's true. But you can respectfully say, I'm an adult. I'm going to make my decisions. It's just how we do it. I've
Okay.
seen people be totally disrespectful to a parent, even when the parent was wrong. At the end of the day, that's your parent.
Hmm.
At the end of the day, when everyone else forsake you, your mom and dad is still there. So, or whoever raised you, because some people are not raised by their
Hmm.
parents, but whoever raised you, whoever stands in is that parent. you still have to respect them. And you can humbly say, I disagree with you, or I'm not, or if they're disrespecting you, you can humbly say, I would appreciate it if you respect me as an adult. I'm no longer a child, and I would like to be treated that way. That don't always fare well with our elders.
That goes down too well with a lot of
Depending, you know how our people. No, my mom in her 70s. She still call me her baby.
Mm.
And I'm like, Mom, grown. I have grown children. I don't care. You still my baby. I mean, yes, ma'am. I just say yes, ma'am. So when I'm critiquing my daughters and my mom is around and she step in, I don't say nothing. Yes, ma'am. That's all I say. And I may not agree with it, but out of respect, because today I don't agree with it. But 5 years from now, when I grow in wisdom, I might go, man, my mom was right. So that's why we should respect them, because we're not where they at on a wisdom level. We haven't gotten there yet. So why shun what they say? Just say yes, ma'am, and go mull it over, or yes, sir, and mull it over and say maybe they're right. Now I look back and I say I wish I could talk to my grandparents and tell them how I know they were right, but something they told me 15, 20 years ago. So things that I was like, I don't agree with it. Yes, ma'am. So I think that's the way you have to do it.
Well, people that weren't tuned in earlier, we did not premeditate this discussion. These are the true leaders of the spirit. This conversation was spiritual led. We didn't know what we were going to talk about. Right. And we got a lot of things covered within boundaries, your heart, your business boundaries. People can't call you all time in the night thinking that you're going to get up and do business at area or 12 o'clock. I'm sitting in the studio, or they're sitting wherever. They got to do something. Well, they got to understand that you're not sitting in the studio. You may be just laying down. You know what I mean?
Right. Work-life balance.
Because then you can't give good information because you're not prepared. So if people want to establish boundaries like now, so they just kind of step back, what do? They write it down?
Yes, you write it down. That's the first thing to do. Write down your thoughts. What offends you? What if things could change today, how would they change? And start writing. Mm-hmm. And then that's where you start. You could start one boundary at a time. It's difficult to establish boundaries if you're a person that never
went through anything.
Never went through them. Start with one boundary that you need to have established. Like for some people, it's please don't holler and scream at me. Mm-hmm. And that's start that. If somebody's hollering and screaming, please excuse me, I don't appreciate that. I would appreciate if you would not holler and scream at me, because it makes me angry and I may do something I may regret. And in the smoothest way, and it usually works.
Yes.
If people are offended, they'll be okay. They will get it. They'll be all right. You at that point, you're not concerned they're offended, because they sure wasn't concerned if you was offended by their behaviors.
That's true.
So people have to respect it, but start with one at a time. One at a time.
Okay, so you just and
practice in the mirror. You have to practice saying it. You have to practice going over it until you get comfortable saying it, communicating it. Then it becomes real, because you got to practice it so that you convince yourself at a molecular level that this is what we're going to do. This is the new mode of action here, the new mode of thinking. So it has to start at the molecular level.
Okay, so what would you say, like something in the mirror? Like, what would you just say? What you wrote down, or what do you do?
I am open and honest with my feelings when I talk to others. I'm just using it as an example. If you're a person that don't communicate well, I am a great communicator. I am good at communicating my feelings. I am comfortable with communicating how I feel in the moment when I'm offended. So, I mean, there are affirmations that you could say, but you have to create your own affirmations. I'm not big on someone else's affirmations. I'm good on my own, because it comes from me. It comes from my heart.
And then you got to say it in front of the mirror. So you sit down and say it. Or you wherever you're comfortable.
I was in the mirror, or I just practice. I can be, dry. My biggest place of meditation is in my car while I'm driving.
Wow.
And I'm saying, I'm having a conversation. I know people in the other car like, this woman's crazy. She's talking to herself. I don't really
Well, they
care.
don't know. They can see you're talking
Who
on your
cares?
cell phone now.
All
So thank
right.
God for that.
That is true. But the way I'm animated, so I'm like, they're like, yeah, she's crazy. I don't have a problem with that, because I have to say to myself, you need to be more open and honest with your feelings. You need to tell people when they offend you. You can do it in a nice way. You need to tell them, because what's most important is how you feel about yourself. So practice in your car. I mean, many of us have 20, 30-minute commute, at
Mm-hmm.
least, at the minimum. So use that time to do self affirmations, or create them, or to have a conversation with yourself about what boundaries you need to set.
Mm. Well, people, you heard it from Dr. Muhammad here. Now, if you don't know, you can call her and you could set up a time with her within her business hours that you can call her and set up, and she could advise you according to her schedule. I said it
Right.
right,
I
right?
don't. Right. No 3 a.m. conversations.
Well, so okay, so where can people, if they do want to set up something with you? Of course, you can come back because you got so many things in that book. Where they can get the book? Where can they get you from, and stuff like that?
Oh, okay. Well, Dr. H.J. Muhammad, you can email me at Haq the Ruler, HAQQTHERULER @gmail. So it's Haq the Ruler @gmail. You can catch me I'm on Instagram. I'm on Facebook as Dr. H.J. Muhammad. You can reach me there as well. My email, sorry, my website is HaqJihadEnterprises.com. That's my website. You can reach me there. What else? Oh, my book, Lioness Awaken a Warrior Spirit Within. You can get that on Amazon, Barnes and Nobles, any digital
And it's not
outlet.
expensive,
And it's
people.
not. No, it's not. It's not. So I keep it that way, because I think it's important to get the message out. It's not about trying to become rich off of it, but it's about trying to get the message out, and that's my goal.
And you have a saying that if it's over 100 pages, then you're not.
Yeah, this not an academic book. I mean, if you can't say what you can't say in 100 pages, it don't need to be said. Like in some books, people are just so redundant. They say the same thing over and over. It's like, okay, I got that in chapter 3. Why you keep saying it in chapter 5? So if you can't say what you have to say, depending on the topic, depending on what you're discussing, when you start getting into a lot of history, then that's different. But a self-help book does not have to be longer than 100 pages.
Mm-mm. People, she's got it down pat, and she's gonna come back and she's gonna talk about some other stuff.
Yes,
It
yes.
it's just real life matters. I just don't just do the entertainments. People, this is some real talk, real discussions, and we're having it here with Dr. Muhammad, and even her name, everything is orchestrated. She has in a formulated pattern. She knows what her name means. She's supposed to help me do mine, but we'll see.
We'll see.
But what your name means, and not just what your name means, it's just the significant what it is. And you even changed your name because it didn't mean something good, right?
Yes. My name is Hakeemah. It means wise. I'm a wise person. I
Hmm.
put that work in. It wasn't by osmosis. I put the work in. I spent many years studying, reading. I read a lot. I research a lot. So, but when you know a lot, is you have an obligation to teach. So I'm trying to teach right now.
Mm. Well, anyway, is there any shout outs that you want to give to people before we close off this session, episode 2, with Dr. Muhammad?
Oh, definitely. I got to give a shout out to my PR company, Exquisite PR firm. I got to give a shout out to Nicole Jordan. I got to give a shout out to Jacob Anderson. I love them both dearly. They definitely working hard to get me out there. I want to give a shout out to you, because you
Oh,
asked me to come back, and I
and,
appreciate
and
it.
you're coming back for another one. So.
That's right. I'm gonna keep coming back as long as you keep giving me an invite. I'm gonna keep coming back.
No, because you have so much knowledge and wisdom, and that has to be heard. What sense of you keeping that all to yourself, and it's not giving it to anybody? So people need to understand, and believe me, people are going to be going looking in that mirror and talking in that car because they're going to listen and say, hey, a minute, I better get myself together. Even me, myself, I'm going to get myself together.
Right. I'm also on YouTube and on TikTok. So Dr.
Oh,
A.
you're on
Muhammad.
TikTok too.
Yeah, so I put videos out. You know, I have a series called Away with Old Thinking Patterns, and I like to challenge people's thinking. Anything that's, you know, sometimes we have thinking patterns that are just need to be addressed. They're outdated. We need to realign ourselves with the universe. We got to change the way we think on a lot of things. So,
well, that's what you're going to talk about when you come back.
Yes.
That is a whole topic in itself.
Yes, away with old thinking patterns.
And
That's right.
you're gonna start to pick everybody's brain. They're gonna be like, "Ooh, what's with
Yeah, we're gonna talk about getting rid of some generational curses. Yeah.
Wow, that's deep. But but this it's been great having you, and and it's the knowledge, and a lot of people, some people come on, they're talking foolishness, and you know what they're saying. But you have it. And I have a lot of guests that are knowledgeable, but you have an extreme knowledgeable journey.
All praise due to Allah. I couldn't do it without him. I couldn't do it without the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. I couldn't do it without my teacher, Mr. Farrakhan. I mean, these people that have helped put me on the right course, helped me discover myself, because at one point I had low self-esteem. So just being in an environment with people who said, no, you greater than that. And so I feel like I have to pass that wisdom on.
Well, you're going to be there. I can see it. You're already there, and you're going to be at a different level. It's 2023. Here you come.
Yes, ma'am. I'm trying, sis. I'm trying.
All right. So I do want to thank you again,
Thank you.
Dr. Muhammad. And I do want to thank the viewers for watching tonight. Send the comments and go to the YouTube channel, DBoss Networks. You'll see all the episodes. And if you didn't see her episode before this one, you could go to the YouTube channel and you'll see her there. So everybody, so bye for now.
All right. Bye-bye. Thank you.